button hit.
Hit the button, man.
The button.
Hit it.
This is about delivering great exclusive games for you that ship on platforms where Game Pass exists.
Oh, man. Get to get them riled up before the show. We're live. We're live. Hey, welcome to RDX Podcast. Real Deal Xbox Podcast. For those that don't know and can't read the thing on the screen, shout out to everybody in the chat. If you happen to be here early, thank you so much. You help power the show, make it what it is. Hit the like button, retweet it, share it out. Follow Tim Dog on Twitter, of course, Starfield. And, of course, I want to say hi to everybody in the chat, guys. I want to reply all day, and I want to sit there and talk about things and recipes and all kinds of family stuff. But we got to talk about Xbox and what's going on there, and Sony and what's going on there. So thanks again for joining us. We're going to do some shout-outs. We're going to do some introductions. Yeah. And actually, I want to start with my introductions here. Fonzarelli, Beetlejuice. How are you guys doing?
Doing well, sir. I'm happy to be here. You know, RDX every Tuesday. It's awesome. I won't be here for the next couple of weeks though, because I got to go on vacation. So, yeah, this is my last show for a couple of weeks, but I will be back. I will return.
Yes, that's good. Yeah. Okay. I got a few ideas as maybe who can fill in for you. But yeah, we'll miss you, sir. But we're gonna make the most of your time tonight, Mike Pons. This is our last night with you. Yeah. We're gonna make the most out of it. Pons, Tim Dog, brother, how you been?
Been really good week. Happy to see Chris is here. Getting a new mic sent to my house. So you know, if I sound a little off, it's just I'm using a secondary mic. But I'm happy to be here, ready to go. Let's go.
Yeah, throw that bitch in the trash. No, I mean,
I know it's bad.
What kind of mic? Well, we'll cover that later. But D-Batch, brother, how you been?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I gotta say, I'm excited today. Some new technology came out from AMD. We got to see it perform, and yeah, I'm looking forward to discussing it in our later topics. So yeah, let's go.
It should be very, very fun. Big stuff coming to Xbox Series S and X. We'll get into that. We've also got Zalker87. How you been? With your normal sounding mic for the first time in a year, you don't sound like a piece of shit. How you been?
I know. I fixed it finally because I'm a freaking fraud. So yeah, I hope everybody enjoys the new sound. I'm glad I could sound better. But yeah, man, we have a lot of topics to talk about. You know, Sea of Thieves. I was in a party for 2 hours listening to dumbasses talk like pirates while I was working. It was great. Oh, it was terrible, everybody. It's terrible.
This footage is terrible. This is actually this is at Sea of Thieves Johnny Depp update. That's what they're calling it. And yeah, this is me, Chris Grinnell, who's on the panel tonight. I'm going to introduce him in a second. We got Darge Knight, who you'll notice has some difficulty making some platform sections, mainly because we're egging him on. And we've got a little bit of, I think Colt was in there. And
yeah,
crap, am I forgetting anyone?
No, Chris,
okay.
You, Darge, and Colt were in there in the party too, just talking like they didn't break character for 2 hours, people. I'm talking legit talk like pirates for 2 hours.
Speaking of pirates, Chris Grinnell, how you been?
I'm good, thanks. My voice is recovered after our pirate talk earlier, and I just failing miserably on the second task or whatever it was. I'm good, thanks. I've been busy with work, and obviously, absolutely joyed to be back on RDX podcast with you guys.
Yeah, it's great to have you on, brother. As people don't know it's not Fonz's last night. He says he's going to be gone for 2 weeks. That it is for vacation.
Yeah,
God,
we're not leaving forever. Hell no.
Look, everybody's leaving.
No.
Hey, technically now Fonz has left the show before because he had some things he had to take care of and come back. Right? This stuff happens, and you know we always welcome those original members back. So that's definitely Fonz is awesome. But anyway, Flame,
I'm not leaving the show. There's no way.
And if I have anything to do with it, you're out of here, bitch.
And then we got Power Man 4K. Shout out for becoming a new channel member, by the way, brother. But yeah, Chris Grinnell, if you didn't know, he helped develop Killzone with Sony, and you know he's running his own thing. He's pretty cool. So thanks for coming on, man.
No, thanks for having me, as always.
You sound fantastic.
It's my new mic.
Everyone's just loading it up. Hey, let me do some Patreon shout-outs real quick, and then we will get into... We got some really good topics tonight, by the way. So, guys, if you're in the chat, listen to your thoughts as we go. I'm going to try to get some more feedback from you guys as we go and do things and kind of just continue to evolve here. But just letting you know, I'm kind of looking. So, We're starting with Ricky Falan. Shout out to you, brother. Johnny No Life, Max Power Play, Fault Line Z, Fierce Fuzz. By the way, a lot of these guys I'm trying to play 2K with, so if you haven't checked your messages, check them.
Oh, my God.
Mega Life, CBD.com, Not Silik, Alex Emery, Elk Dude YouTube, Bad Boy Live, Achievement, Nano Polybass, shout out to him, Zoradin, Costanza, Wayne, Scout Troopers, KY Bob, Goose 842. By the way, Costanza, those guys are crazy Call of Duty. Like, they're super good at Call of Duty. Like, if you want to go pro, just roll with Costanza. You've also got Straw Hat Khalifa, Assassin Lupa, Foreign Object, Gab, Quiz Cheo, John Blue, Beck Boss, DBeater X, Real Deal Neil, Suicide King, Tasteless Genie, Michael Bowen, Guillermo Cabillo, All Might, Gaz, Dark CMF, and Alfonso Hogan. Shout out to all you guys. You're amazing. All my patrons. That's just a shout out to here. All the guys up in the scroll on top. Phil Spencer, talking about E3. This is a lighter topic, but it's still a great topic. They're talking about E3 breaking records for them and how they're feeling after the show, right? Because everyone knows the tides are turning. That's why everywhere you look, you've got guys that are, I like Xbox now, and they're mostly media guys, but I don't think that's a coincidence. But Phil Spencer saying, thank you. It's been a phenomenal week for us after E3. It's our most viewed E3 ever, and they haven't felt energy like this since the 360 era. That's a big deal, right?
Yeah, it is.
Because remember, in 2013, Microsoft made it cool to hate Xbox, right? They helped them do that. And they've managed to turn this around. It took a while. But, Zauker, this is a positive vibes. Once again, I feel that old energy, but without the bowl cut in the submarine.
Yeah, you know what the funny thing is that, like, do you remember, like, 2019 when we came on this podcast after and we were just like, yeah, fuck. Like, we didn't really care for the podcast, like, the event. Last year, obviously, it sucked, but this whole changing of, like, after they got Bethesda, after all the studios, after everything.
You thought last year sucked?
No, I said, like, the year in general sucked.
Oh, okay.
Like, I'm talking about, like, just everything. Like, there was no live event. I'm saying the show was pretty good. I enjoyed the show. I'm saying that just the year in general. But what I'm saying is now, it's like after Bethesda, after all the studios, you can tell that there's just a different vibe around Xbox. You can tell that everything is extremely positive. And that's something that I was talking about in one of my videos was E3, like, Xbox kind of saved it this year. Like, I know people like Nintendo and they rated it really high. Like, I don't really care for Nintendo. I don't want to play 27-framed games. You know what I mean? I just don't want to play those. But Xbox to me, like, really showed E3 and they gave it new life. Like, I feel like they truly, if Xbox sucked this year at E3, E3 would have sucked. Like, it would have hurt both companies. Like, right? Like, both, like, E3 would have been really, like, in a bad spot for next year. But now with Xbox knocking it out of the park, breaking records, and then even Nintendo, I think, was doing really well, like, record-wise, view-wise. It shows that E3 is alive. It shows that Xbox is really staying at E3. And we're going to have even more shows and announcements, man. I don't know. The 360 thing, minus the terrible studios, 360 was their best generation, obviously. But, man, I think the Series X generation is going to knock that shit on its ass.
I think it is, too. I think there's a big, cohesive global plan coming together. And they've been working on this for quite some time. So, again, I mean, that was kind of, I mean, I don't know how much more we could really even say about it. I mean, it was the most viewed E3. Chat, if you got any other interesting tidbits that you'd kind of like us to talk about with that, I don't really remember anything offhand that was particularly, hey, it was the people ate sandwiches with their left hand at a higher rate than ever during that E3, like, you know how they normally do with their analytics, right? So, I mean, Tim, did you hear anything behind the scenes? They're very happy with the feedback they're getting there. They're not so much ignoring the hardcore as much when it comes to that.
Yeah, I heard that Game Pass specifically, the analytics or the subscription rate spiked. Very happy with the overall, reception. I think they went in kind of like we went in, like kind of unsure, or, we thought they were going to do good, but we didn't really have an idea. But yeah, they, from what I've heard, they're very, very happy. And I think that Phil put that tweet out there specifically to kind of say the Xbox One era is over. This is the new Xbox. We're pushing to win this generation. And I thought it was a big spot. And, I just looking at last gen, they didn't have one of those defining moments. And I felt like the E3 and just the week in general really kind of pushed the needle for a lot of people. I think, like I said, Game Pass, it put up a crooked number. It's hard to do with the shortages to say how well it would have done, but They're extremely happy. They just honestly want more chips made so they can sell this thing.
Yeah.
Because they're really doing well.
Yeah, they are.
Well, last generation, Tim. I thought the best E3 they had was like obviously there was a couple announcements, like the back compat announcement was really good, but the big one was like 2018, right? Like I thought that show was solid, and then all the studios, but it feels like that just all bleeds into this generation, right? It led up to this E3, like all the studios that they bought, everything that they were pushing towards. It wasn't like Xbox One. It was more like it was just building up to this, right? And then this generation for Series X is benefiting from all that investment from last generation. It kind of reminds me of what Sony did, right, in PS3 era. They didn't have a lot of first-party stuff, so they started investing in that, and then it helped them propel their PS4 generation to shit we've never seen before. That's what I feel like that last generation, the last 3 years was just getting ready for this.
Yeah, and and largely on the technical side, right? But in terms of first-party software, we still don't have a lot of that. And that means that a lot of that should be roaring and ready to go here soon, hopefully. That's something. That's why we're all here, right? So again, shout out to everybody. Almost 1,000, getting up close to 1,000 already. Hit the like button if you haven't. I got to say it 47 times during the show, and we do appreciate you guys. Tony Bryant, by the way, in the Super Chase is glad to be here. Hoping for a great show. Yes, Tony. It's always a great show. Most of the time. Sometimes we also got Scrub Nurse. They shout out to Scrub Nurse. He said great to make it live. Hit the like button. Yeah, hit the like button. We do appreciate it. Let's try to get close to 1,000 for the end of the show. D-Batch, go.
Before we move on, I just want to know, where are you guys getting your information from? Because I heard that Sony won. They didn't even need to show up, and they won. That's what I heard. I heard
you gotta bring this messiness in here.
I heard E3 is irrelevant, and I seen
Again?
a million articles saying why it's now irrelevant.
Really?
I saw a lot of articles actually.
Man.
In all honesty, yeah, man. I can't really add much more. I just wanted to put a little jest in there. But Microsoft hit it out the park, and the haters are out in droves. And Microsoft had a really good show. They put their plan out there, their blueprint for what they have coming, and it's going to be glorious. And I agree with them. It kind of did have that 360 kind of era feeling where you were happy to be an Xbox gamer, and you couldn't wait for the next games to come. And the last few years it really hasn't been like that. So yeah, man, I'm excited, and Game Pass is the shit, man. Like, all those games are coming to Game Pass, so it was an impressive show, man. So yeah, man, we should be buzzing.
It wasn't even a game plan, like where you kind of sat there for like, oh look at the next 3 years, and it was literally a lot of those games are coming out in the next year and like 3 months. Like that's what was scary about it, was like you were like, whoa, holy shit, like this is a lot of games coming out, and we're gonna play all of them because of Game Pass. And then that only goes into kind of November next year with Starfield, but there's still going to be more announcements next year that we don't know about that are probably coming. Like that's the whole point of why this was such a holy shit moment.
Yeah, I think I think Microsoft knew this when they acquired ZeniMax, and they were I said it on this show last year after they acquired ZeniMax. I talked with Aaron, and he told me that they're getting that feeling again, like the 360 days. It's just, this just adds more to it. And I don't understand why the media is now like finally saying something positive about Xbox in there when they've had ZeniMax for how long now? I guess they were waiting for Sarah Bond to come out and say, hey, these games are exclusive. I don't know, but they are. And that's a good thing.
Well, she said it a few times, Fonz, and they're still like, maybe it's still coming to Starfield, PlayStation. I mean, I don't know if you saw this
I
article.
get some of the outlets doing that, but sensationalism drives the clicks and all that crap.
Yeah,
I feel like they had like a training session with Todd Howard and everybody, because the way they had to look back and be like, all right, so this is what happened with Tomb Raider, and so we're going to be prepared for this, because everybody's dumb next question is it coming to PlayStation? Is there a chance? It's like, no. And that's the thing. Like even Todd Howard, like he said himself, like, hey, we're going to make better games because of this. Like he straight up said that.
Can I just add that it's great to have another charismatic host, if you want to say, in Todd Howard. He can run a show. We all know that for years. I've loved the Bethesda shows and everything. So yeah, him coming out and, doing the thing at E3 for Xbox, it's just really good to have people like that on board for these shows as well. That helps out. And could you imagine how it would have been if this would have been a live show with in front of people, the reaction.
Yeah.
Because you just feel more when you watch a show and you hear people get pumped for their favorite game being shown or whatever on screen for a new IP. It's just, it's a really cool feeling to have. Even watching it from a computer screen and listening to the crowd go nuts. There's something that's lost there. So next year, just get even better.
Well, I want you to talk about Pete Hines real quick, because that's a topic I forgot all about it.
Pete Hines.
Yeah. Pete Hines came out and during a podcast, and remember, when things are put into text and put it up there in an article from some guy that lives in a trash can somewhere, you kind of ignore all social cues. You don't get any of that stuff. You don't get sarcasm, any of that stuff. And when Pete Hines was saying certain things, this stuff was not really expressed. But long story short, he ended up apologizing for Bethesda games not being on PlayStation, and kind of giving the lowdown on that, and give me some buy on that. Docker, I don't want your opinion, sir.
Here's the thing.
You've had so many.
Yeah, so look, I'm of the firm belief that you should never apologize for something you didn't, do any wrong for. It makes no sense to just apologize. I understand. I can see where Pete Hines was maybe being empathetic and just apologizing sort of in that way, but it comes across differently to different people, and it was going to be ran with certain people that, hey, look, he's apologizing for these people, he should never do this, blah blah blah, like, this is terrible, this is a bad look. Because it wasn't just saying, look, I'm sorry these games are not coming to your platform of choice, but it was also the very end when he said, and there's nothing I could do about that. When he said that kind of just rubbed me the wrong way as well. And it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way too, because basically, what are you trying to imply? That, you can't do anything about it, but you would if you could? Like, people will take it that way, even though I don't necessarily think he meant that, but you're going to have a lot of people thinking that. Yeah. And I just assume not freaking apologize for anything, especially when you don't do anything wrong like this. And I know Aaron has come out afterwards and said, I'm not sorry. And I don't think you handle it that way either. But again, these executives, they should have a better way of answering questions like this. First of all, I don't need, if this was the shoe on the other foot, I don't know if a journalist would ask the same question of, say, PlayStation. But they asked, Pete Hines, and again, I think he should have said something better, maybe something along the lines of, me, the team at Bethesda and Xbox have had a long history together, and this relationship is just going to get stronger. And, make a blanket statement like that. You don't have to sit there and say, I'm sorry, guys, that this isn't coming to your platform. Like, there's no apology needed here. Yeah. Nobody apologized for Insomniac or Spider-Man or Ratchet and Clank, any of these games going anywhere else. It's just a weird thing to me.
He actually talked back. He actually brought up today, I think, he actually brought it back up. And he said, I quote, I'm not apologizing for exclusivity. He said, I don't have to do anything. Some of our fans are upset and angry, and I'm sorry they are. That isn't wrong or weird. It's acknowledging how they feel. That's it. It's my whole point. It's okay to acknowledge and feel bad for people who are upset or angry, regardless of whether they did anything wrong or not. I'm simply expressing empathy. That's all he said. That's what he said. Because he kept getting questions about that, like, sorry. And he's like, dude, shut up. Like,
because a lot of these sites are going to spin that.
You should have a better answer.
I'm with Fonzarelli 100%. I felt it came off the wrong way. I don't want to hear about empathy and stuff like that, because it's a business and we all know how it works. There's a lot of things that you can have empathy for a lot of fans for, but I think you pointed out a lot of good points. It's like, where are the people asking people about Final Fantasy VII Remake, and why is it's been a year, why is there no questions in the media being asked? Certain things like that, like, it is definitely a double standard, and I feel that he came off. I don't like the way he came off, to be honest, and I didn't want to approach it on Twitter because I think he's definitely somebody who will go back and forth, and I didn't want to have an ugly thing go on. But the fact of the matter is that this is a business, and you shouldn't feel bad for any. Why don't you feel bad for me? I wanted to play Deathloop on day one.
I think that was his point, though, Tim, is he was saying that he was just acknowledging the feeling, I guess.
Yeah, but come on. Like,
yeah, I get what you're saying, though.
What are we, Dr. Paul, whatever?
Dr. Phil.
Dr. Phil, I mean,
Dr.
come
Paul.
on. Video games, it doesn't have to be on that level. It doesn't even have to be approached on that. And for him to bring it up and to, take that slant, to me, it's silly. It's like I don't want to hear about that stuff. Like, it just came off, and I think he's an awesome guy, and no way I'm judging him on this whole thing, but he came off wrong in my opinion, and I love the fact that Aaron said, "I'm not apologizing for anything," because you really don't need to apologize for anything. Because
so Aaron did say that when he said that on Twitter.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Aaron said, "Fuck y'all! I ain't apologizing for shit."
Well, that's the way you should be. This is a $7.6 billion deal, and let's be honest. The only reason why those people who feel bad are those people who hate Microsoft.
Yeah.
And they won't get an Xbox, or they won't play on a Windows PC. Those are the people that you're feeling bad for. People that just have active hate for a company.
Well, it's not just those people, Tim. It's not just those people. Come on, like there's media types asking them. Like they're not when the Tomb Raider thing was announced and all this stuff was announced. Do you really think like a random fan like was talking to them? No, it was media types asking them about. Well, what about PlayStation? What about this? Yet those same media types do not ask about the exclusivity for PlayStation. I mean, we've had people that are Xbox-centric people saying like, yeah, this is just a business. And then when Xbox does it, they go and say, well, I don't know about this anymore. It's like, it's weird. It is a double standard. And I think Xbox really does see it. I think they understand that there is a double standard. And I think that's why Aaron might have said what he said when he's like, I don't give a shit. Because it's like, you don't.
Well, shout out to Aaron Greenberg because he kept it 100, right? And two, when they took bug snacks away from me with day one, I was pissed. I knew it would eventually come to Xbox. I'm waiting. But, they stole that shit.
You can have a PC. You could have a PC that's 4 years old that has an Ethernet connection, and you can get $1 Game Pass subscription, and you can play Starfield. That's the bottom line. So there really isn't a real barrier to play these games, and that's the thing that Xbox keeps preaching, and it's true. You could play the game if you really wanted to. And if you're not playing the game, you have to. That's a me problem, in my opinion. That's a you problem because you're just actively not playing it because you don't like Xbox, or you're not gonna go that route. You're only gonna go on one system, and for me, there's nothing to feel bad about it. That's just a person with a you problem or a him problem or her problem, and I don't have to feel bad for that because it's so easy to play a game. You play it on your phone and get, like I said, $1 subscription that we all make fun of. It's pretty easy to play a game if you really want to.
I think you brought up a good point, though, Tim. Most of these people that were complaining or, pretending to be concerned with this were Xbox haters. Let's be honest. Most gamers are going to pick up an Xbox for games that they really want to play, or any console for that matter. And I just think it's ridiculous that, people are making a big deal out of this anyway. Like, I don't think most gamers out there that are really all about the games really care if all the Bethesda games are exclusives. They'll pick up an Xbox or play it even on xCloud for that matter. Who knows? But at the end of the day, the only thing that I could say is that all these games are going to be
exclusive.
So who cares?
The timing. I want to get to Chris Cornell on some stuff, and I want to move forward as well. This topic's blah, but I got to get a few of these guys in the super chat here. So least I can do here. Aim down scope. He says PS5 Warzone 120 FPS update after 6 months. Yeah, that's 6 months late. Xbox has had it since day one. He's right, and it has no HDR in that 120 FPS mode as well. That's I'm hearing. From people on that team too. There's some other stuff going on with that, so we'll hopefully learn about more what's going on there here soon. But thank you, Uriel. He says, could it be possible that Kojima is making both an episodic horror game from Xbox and that Abandon is a PS5 exclusive, or a PS5 Kojima Silent Hill? That I have no idea on, sir. But yeah, maybe he's definitely working with somebody, right? Shout out to Dark CMF real quick. $20 super chases. The result of the exclusivity tests are in. The result, he says, ponies, you are not getting Bethesda games. That's true. Mark Povich. That's a throwback to a Twitter comment the other day. Shout out to Dark.
Oh my God.
We've been playing 2K as well. And then I'll get one more. Urban Ninja. He does say, I don't put, hang on, I'm trying to fix this thing. I don't put that on him. All right, he's talking about the comments. The real problem is that they were taking and asked the questions in the first place. So he's put around media types like Zonker said. You remember when Phil got around with Tomb Raider, right? Like, that's the only thing they asked about was, when's that coming to PlayStation? That's the only thing they cared about. And that's because they knew their primary audience cared about that and they wanted that revenue. When it comes down to it, nobody asked about Bug Snacks, damn it. When's that coming to Xbox? And what else did they got? They got some
funny.
They got something
It's
recently.
pretty funny. Some people out there, somebody sent me some tweets that some people were upset that they were getting Starfield ads on their YouTube videos. And I'm like, what?
Oh, I heard about that. Hang on, there was a big thing going on.
So mad. Why?
Because they're saying that Microsoft are boosting their trending, the number one trending, like apparently that's boosting it because they're putting ads.
It's called a business, people. It's a business.
Yeah.
Of course they're going to try to boost and trend and oh my God. People cry about everything. Look, I refreshed the page here twice. Once I got Redfall, once I got Starfield. Guess what? That's fantastic. Keep boosting, keep freaking spreading your games out there and showing people, hey, this is where you can play these games and they're exclusive. That's competition, baby. This is,
Well, they're just mad because Microsoft are trending and they don't like that. That's all it is.
Who cares?
That's 100%. If this was the other way around, they'd be loving it. Let's be honest.
And it has been the other way around. They say it's desperate that Microsoft are putting ads out there and they're trending like they are. Meanwhile, people are posting pictures of Spider-Man on the side of a building and saying, is this desperate? You know what I'm saying? Like they've done some crazy marketing over there. So
ridiculous.
Okay, nothing wrong with marketing your
Horizon
product.
Forbidden West before I started my YouTube videos. I didn't get mad. Like
you didn't get pissed off.
You guys are weird. Wow. You people out there who complain about this stuff are weird. Weird.
To be quite honest, the people that are weird. The thing I don't like about exclusivity is when they get something like Spider-Man and Avengers, right? When you blatantly keep things off of another platform that has the game. That's something that they did with Destiny, that Sony did with Destiny, where there were strikes only on PlayStation. That's the type of shit I don't like. I don't like that. And that Spider-Man thing, you remember when that happened? Everybody was jumping for joy.
We don't have to jump back into all that. We got good topics to go over. But
trash.
yeah. They took something that was already built for the game and held it, which is still ain't even on fucking PlayStation, and held it for a very long time for another platform. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know. I don't really care a ton. One more here real quick, because Tony Bryant is doubling down on this. He says, great double standards there, and he's glad Aaron actually said what he said. Nobody actually made a stink over Final Fantasy, which is an example I think Fonz brought up. That's a perfect example. When's that coming to Xbox? There's no articles like that.
Nowhere.
None.
At one point last year, it was supposed to be out like last April or something. I don't know. That was the rumor, and now you don't hear nothing about that game.
You don't.
Or anything.
You don't. So I'll come back to Super Chats here in a bit, but we got to move forward. I got to give a shout out to everyone watching, guys. Hit the like button if you haven't. Let's get up close to 1,000 likes if we can. Do appreciate it for the end of the show. I want to ask Chris Goodell. You should love this one. IGN go pretty insane here. I think the guy with the PlayStation channel forgot to sign out. I have no fucking clue, but they do. And this was real. Like people actually went back and checked and looked at this live stream, and IGN left a comment on their verified account in the comments there in the live chat, and they do say, "I love how people say PlayStation has no games when Battlefield is coming to both. Tell me, when's the last time Xbox had an exclusive internet points for anybody that can guess?" And that's from a verified checkmarked IGN 10 million plus subscriber channel. So, Chris, why didn't you tell us you worked at IGN and you was being a double agent over there?
Yeah, I think some of the guys touched upon it before. There's just a double standard, isn't there, when it comes to kind of what Xbox do and what PlayStation does. So yeah, I believe it was the guy who kind of wears his PlayStation.
The guy in the video they took down.
Chain around his neck. I think the thing which was most disappointing for me is the I don't know his name, but I think it's like the editor came out on Twitter and said he didn't really have a problem with the comment. He kind of like turned around and said
with the YouTube comment.
Yeah. So he turned around and said it was actually the tone of it may have been off slightly, but the content was actually the truth or whatever. So even kind of the editor of IGN was like chipping in on Twitter and kind of reaffirming that it was okay. Which is
there was a YouTube comment, right? And then there was the guy in the chain, the video where they were saying that Microsoft what were they saying? They were saying Microsoft were getting rid of or ditching consoles or something, and they took that video down, right?
Yeah, so there was a Bloomberg video, which I think obviously they were kind of press and fill for like this lack of consoles and stuff like that. So I think that was slightly, a slightly different topic, but I think IGN picked up on it. But it was just the fact that the YouTube comment was kind of met with, this is not on, and obviously a lot of people said, he forgot to sign into his own account to, fanboy it up in the chat or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was IGN's like editor or online editor or editor in chief or something. I can't remember his name, but he came out on Twitter and said that the tone of the comment was off, but he didn't have a problem with the comment itself being from an IGN account on Twitter or whatever, because what was said was the truth actually, and then he kind of like backed it up and said, name one Xbox exclusive, blah blah blah, and he kind of backed it up. So I think IGN have just turned themselves into a really questionable kind of media outlet.
Even more so.
Even more so when it comes to Xbox. But for me, I think on the flip side, I think what's great for kind of people who like to game in the Xbox ecosystem is all of this has really riled up so many people in the community and stuff now, because people tried to downplay, people tried to say that Bethesda, purchase was buggy, buggy games and so on and stuff. It was trash and so on and so forth.
Oh, wow.
And now like everyone's crying for Starfield, crying for like all of these games. And I think the fact that the media are kind of being unfair and asking these questions about exclusivity, and then you have this kind of nonsense about, well, Bethesda used to do multi-platform games and Sony don't buy companies like that and all this nonsense, which
isn't true either.
Yeah, which I don't believe or get why people think it's any different. I think it just shows how amazing and how powerful that acquisition is, and I think we saw that in E3, as you guys said. And I think everyone connected with Xbox has got a confidence about them. Absolutely everyone who's kind of in the community, in the public domain, within Twitter, who's interacting with the fans, none of these people who are disappearing or staying hidden behind like the keyboards. And on the kind of Sony side, where there's very few, there's no interactions whatsoever, and then you'll get these kind of little blog posts. I think there's a swagger and there's a confidence with Xbox, because I think they're now in a position to kind of see what the vision is around Game Pass, around content, around kind of supplying Xbox customers with constant kind of AAA bangers, but also different types of different game types. So there's a bit of something for everyone. But I think this media bias has always existed. I think Sony get a free ride, as the guys have said. It's never questioned.
Well, last year, I would say they get a free ride for the most part. But during the PS3, man, yeah, I mean, IGN they were pandering to the Xbox guys a lot there too. The PS3, it was pretty easy to shit on the PS3 for a while.
Yeah, because it was an innovation that kind of didn't work and it kind of backfired.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's what makes it worse, is kind of these media outlets that people look up to, kind of start to pander and get kind of involved in fanboy wars. And the editor should have come out and gone, yeah, actually that's not on. That should have been that was a private comment or this, that, the other. But it was the fact that he kind of backed it up, just massively kind of irritated me. But I tend not to really read or look too much into IGN anyway, because they've lost their credibility for me.
Yeah, Shady, and I want to throw it to D here in a second, but Shady says the only thing they really got is early access to trailers and stuff like that. Nothing. Yeah, there hasn't been a personality on IGN that I've been like, this guy knows a lot of stuff, or I'm learning stuff here, or at the very least I'm even entertained. And honestly, we watched for the last 3-4 years a lot of those guys stumble around and not even know what the fuck's happening, like where Game Pass is going, that there were even multiple SKUs. They still think this thing was holding fucking visuals back, right? Despite Halo Infinite having a drastic leap in visuals. It's they, you know, you could tell they just don't really watch anything, or they're not open to learning things from others. So I just couldn't find it there. D-Batch, could you find it at IGN? Besides, what did you find there besides this weird comment?
Nothing, man. You know what? Honestly, IGN, like, you know, I talked briefly about them last week. You know, they make some idiotic comments, and it's not like a one-off. It happens quite often. So to me, you know, they're showing their bias, and I know you get all the jokes. Oh yeah, here we go with the media bias, but it really is a thing, and you know, it is what it is, and I don't really go to IGN for anything anymore. You're right. There's maybe like the odd person there that doesn't, you know, agitate me, but for the most part, like I really don't get my news from them, and I don't know what to say. Like, even I don't want to dog them out too much, but like even when I watch like some of their reviews on like television shows or movies, I'm like, you guys are like so off base. Like your finger's not on the pulse of what's going on. So I don't know.
And I'm not saying that good people don't work there, or that
Yeah,
you know, we've had Alana Pierce on the show. Like, I'm not saying that for any other reason than what I mean. Like, hey, I haven't went there to seek information or entertainment in fucking 10 years. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I honestly, I still listen to Ryan McCaffrey. I still listen to Destin. Those guys still are. I think they definitely do have their finger on the pulse of the gaming industry. But they're rare within that company. I'll say that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
agree.
Who cares about?
Okay. I'm not painting a broad.
No, you're right though. Listen, let's be honest. IGN is catering to a certain fan base. They've done that. They probably looked at the analytics, and it is obviously an outlet that has been pro Sony for the longest time. This is nothing like you said. Like, it's, you know, nothing surprising here. It didn't surprise me. I mean, I even like Ryan, who I like. You know, he's calling out Xbox guys in 2015, saying that the fanboys are, are tasteless or whatever with the Tomb Raider, and then
because he was calling Xbox out over the Tomb Raider thing, right?
Right, and then in 2020, he's saying how brilliant it is that they have an exclusive deal with Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah,
and that, you know, that should be applauded. So. Listen, I like Destin. I think he's pretty good. I think Ryan's all right. But the obvious take from IGN is it is definitely a pro Sony outlet, and they don't really make any qualms about it. That's why, like Chris said, like what bothered him, you know, it is what it is, because that's their DNA right now. That's what they're catering to. They know who's in the comments. They know who's subscribed to them. They know who's giving them business, and it's Sony guys.
And I think we're kind of saying the media bias, but at this point, it's not really. Like, IGN is obviously the biggest, you know, gaming media news site, so it's not really like media bias. It's more like IGN bias, right? Like, that's kind of like what we've seen. And you know, this comment is just another one of the. I thought it was fake. I literally put in there, like, I was like, this is fake. And then I was like, somebody photoshopped it or something. And then when I was like, oh no, it's not fake, this is actually real, people are showing you like the clip of it and then everything else, I'm like, holy shit, like what are you doing? Yeah. Like, to me, it's like you have no integrity, no nothing, because that's not what media sites do. They don't do stupid shit like that. And if you're just doing it to get clicks and and get articles and stuff like that, that's kind of annoying. Like, I understand that, like, you know, being an Xbox fan, you know, it was tough. I wasn't even here before. It was tough, but now it's like gaming, right? Just look at the gaming, look at what we're doing, look what Xbox is doing, look what Sony's doing, and have an unbiased comment about it. Like, go in there and be like, you know what, Xbox's exclusive is Starfield, right? Like, Xbox exclusive is for Horizon. And, you know, in IGN, they were like shocked that Forza Horizon 5 is coming this year. And I've been like, and I'm like, literally, even Ryan McCaffrey said, like, I'm shocked it was this year. And I'm sitting there going, like, man, for months we've been kind of like, yeah, Forza's coming.
One of them, yeah.
Yeah, one of them is coming this year for sure. That's what we always thought. But I don't like the comment. I don't like that stuff. And, You know, after seeing like even the guy that's wearing the chain of PlayStation on like an Xbox video, it's like I feel like it's like these well orchestrated trolls that know it's gonna get clicks and know it's gonna get attention. Like that to me is what I see, and that's just it's irritating. The only thing I go to IGN for is if they get like exclusive like game clips for like 20 minutes. That's the only thing I go to because they are the only ones that have that game clip.
Yeah,
they're the only. I don't go them for the personalities. I don't go there for news because, to be quite honest, I feel like a lot of the people that we talk to and a lot of the people, even in the chat, like I feel like a lot of people in the chat know what we're talking about. Like we all keep our ear to the ground. We all want to know what's going on. And to be quite honest, Xbox does reach out to us, the chat, everybody, fans. They keep us well informed. I've said this 1,000 times in videos. I've said this 1,000 times. Xbox is more transparent than any company in gaming I've ever seen. They tell you exactly what they're doing, how they're going to do it, and then they're going to be like, here, this is when it rolls out. Everything up to confirming, like, we're going to make our games for Xbox One for a year or two. Yeah, this is going to get boosted.
Sony's in the bushes, like, watching them take shots.
Yeah, Sony's, like, sitting there going, like, and they're like, our games are coming to PC. Our games are coming to xCloud. All these stuff. Like, if you noticed, a lot of the games they announced at that E3, a lot of them were console, PC, and cloud. They want, even the third-party ones, they want to make sure that Xbox is everywhere. And it's like, why not? Like, just be upfront with your fans, tell them what you're going to do, and I guarantee you'll get feedback, and people will trust you a little bit more.
Yeah. So, and just don't tell us too early before you know how you're going to do it, like the DRM thing. They didn't even know what the fuck they were going to do back then. They were like, yeah, I think we're on a disc. We're not really sure. There was things in motion there, but they're so much further ahead. Like the management back then, holy shit, and caught by surprise and all that stuff. So it was, man, it's a lot there. And Zaki, you're right. They've been very transparent, the most transparent in history when it comes to gaming, in my opinion. To their detriment, never, in my opinion. They've always changed and come forward, and even reversed some really, really dumb decisions a day later, like the Xbox Live thing, right? So that's why feedback's important.
Well, even the like, we're gonna, PS5 was like, we're gonna make PS5 only games, and like they kind of like lulled people into that, while Xbox was taking lumps for like 8 months, saying we're gonna support these for 2 years, and then Xbox was like, never mind, and then now there's like leaked things of Demon Souls even coming to PS4.
That's found on the PlayStation database, by the way. Demon Souls PS4, just like we had talked about on the show. There's no reason that shouldn't be on PS4, just like everything else, and that apparently has been leaked in a PlayStation database that Demon Souls would be on PS4. So, you can downgrade those visuals, right? So that game was built for a PS3.
Exactly. So that's the whole point, is that like Xbox was taking these lumps and they still held true. They were like, no, this is what we're going to do. And then then Sony, all this stuff like, oh, by the way, $70. And oh, by the way, it's going to come to this. And Horizon, same with God of War. And then later, and then just walked away. And people were like, wait, what happened?
Don't talk about that, Zach. They get upset when you be truthful with them about that.
I mean, it hurts.
Those shenanigans.
Truth hits you.
There's we mentioned somebody who said some of the guys have the finger on the pulse. I mean, listen, if you're an Xbox guy and you didn't expect Forza Horizon 5, you're not an Xbox guy, in my opinion, because
you're talking about Ryan McCaffrey then, because Ryan McCaffrey's the one that said that in his article.
Well, I mean, I don't understand how are you paying attention? I mean, that's just like, we all knew that. Anybody in the chat, and that's what I think, that places like this and YouTubers like yourself and Dealer and Colt and Fonz and everyone who does that, we're the real pulse. We know the pulse. We know what's going on. You know why? Because we live it. We were passionate about it. This is what we're about. And we're on any type of little info on Xbox. And to be honest, that's the way. If you're like an IGN and you're supposed to be the Xbox guy, you should be that way. That's the way you should be.
Tim, I really question how much these guys even hear behind the scenes. It's like, honestly, I think I hear more than some of these guys hear, just based off what they report.
Right, they should be the ones that are breaking the stories, but they're not. And I just feel like it's because the people on this panel, people on this chat, and everyone really in the community, we're just more passionate about it. We care more, and we look to find more.
That's a good capping point for this particular topic. Yeah. I think the chat will thank me here. I do have to give a shout out here to Spooky Sprocket. Shout out to you, brother. He said, just wanted to say hi to Dealer, Fonz, Tim. Oh, my cat just did a backflip off something. Timmy, D, Zalker, And the great Chris Cornell, you fellas are the best. Thank you so much, Spooky Sprocket. He says, game on, gentlemen. Yes, sir.
Love you.
Flapjack Juice. He says, what do you guys think of Nintendo dominating E3 hype based off of, did they? Games
I mean, a lot of Nintendo fans really like their event. I know Jeff Grubb's a massive Nintendo fan, so he really.
I mean, they can love it. I don't care. They didn't dominate nothing.
Yeah, they didn't dominate. I mean, a lot of people talked about their games. Again, like I said, I'm not a big Nintendo fan. I love the N64, and that's the last like Nintendo console I really loved. Outside of that, like some of their games just don't resonate with me. So while some people liked it, and hey, man, enjoy your games, right? Like that's the whole point. They didn't do anything for me. Xbox completely dominated everything. They had games in there that I wanted easily.
And Flapjack Juice says, "Why pre-order games on Nintendo? I'm getting day one and Game Pass for no additional cost." That's a phenomenal point, sir. And then I'll do one more here. Man. One more. Brian Storm, shout out to you, brother. He says, "I guarantee you, come next E3, Sony won't show up again, knowing that Microsoft has a massive lineup to show." That's a good. They're gonna have more to show next year than they did this.
Definitely.
So
I can point on that.
Now, but that's not saying wait for next E3 though. Random guy on the internet.
I actually think that this is going to force Sony to maybe reconsider coming to E3.
No.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Show again.
Well, I'm not talking about like this year. I'm saying like next year or something. Like over time, like if Sony or if
they'll never
Xbox
come to
going,
E3
nope,
again.
they're done. They're mad. They're done.
They're mad. They're mad.
Y'all are being toxic.
About that a couple of weeks ago that they're mad. They're mad.
They feel like Microsoft has an unfair advantage, and you know they want to do things on their own, and they're going to have their own shows. The days of them showing up at E3 are done, in my opinion. But I wanted to make a point too. There was trepidation within the Xbox camp about a month before. Some things on the Xbox side, I think, fell through. And that made Xbox push out temper expectations. Yeah. That all was done purposely. And from what I'm hearing, they've had some games that they wanted to even have. Avowed was one of them, and I think Hellblade was the other. So to get away with such a great E3, the way that they've come away, and I think Phil said this in previous E3s like 5 years ago, like we still have bolts in the gun, but they really do have a couple of announcements sitting that you could really dominate the Game Award show if you want to. So I think that's another great thing about this E3 is that they did it without Avowed and without a couple of games that you thought that should have been there, and they still did it. And I know for a fact they were a little worried that they put out temper expectations and that type of stuff. They weren't 100% sure they were going to knock it out of the ballpark. Either was I, but they did.
Good. I'm glad they have that pressure on them. I'm glad that they're self-aware. Like, hey, man, we're kind of worried. I want you to have that because your pressure, you're going to perform better. And there was leaks and forums and stuff that Obsidian Entertainment actually did provide something for E3, like gameplay, and that they provided some stuff to them. And they said they just held off on it. They were like, you know what? I think we have enough. Let's just.
We remember Halo last year didn't have no mountains, so
exactly. Yeah, they were just like, put this back in the oven, and maybe we'll show it at the end of the year, or maybe we'll show it next year. Just put it back in the oven, let it cook some more, do what you guys got to do, and then don't worry about it because we have other studios that can show off right now, and you don't need to.
Yeah, that's probably what they did. Is they'll have like something big for the Game Awards, right? So they'll Hellblade it up.
Sure.
Hellblade looks phenomenal, by the way. Hellblade 2.
They're gonna have a big.
They hired dealer, showed him the trailer. He's like, "Nah, don't throw that shit.
Hang on a second.
Put it in there.
Let me zoom in on this." Yeah,
is that a mountain?
Did you guys see that Hellblade in engine footage? Holy shit! In my last video, I showed this stuff. Woo. Is that real? Is that real logs? That log won best graphics of all time by itself.
A log?
Yeah. I don't know.
Driftwood.
That looks demented to me. That game. I'm really excited. Like, as far as I'm concerned, I know that there was like a little bit of a pushback on his comments that they were going in full productions, but with big parts of the game done already, and people were going crazy. But for me, I want that game to be what I think where it's going. I honestly feel when that game shows, it is going to set a visual benchmark on any
I
console
agree.
anywhere.
Because the first one was really
well, they said it in
impressive
their
visually.
job listing. They said we're going to set a new bar. I covered this like 2 years ago, probably when they were hiring for that game, and they apparently are going to set a bar there somehow.
By the way,
go ahead.
Ashtree Gaming says, so Sony doesn't like that Xbox has the upper hand with E3, so they're going home with their ball. Hashtag lame.
Yep.
Yeah, kind of, but I wish I wish they would go back to E3, but they won't. They won't.
Okay.
PlayStation Experience thing will come back. That there's a genuine. I know there's a rumor knocking about, but there's genuine discussions going on about PlayStation Experience coming back. So they're going to try and kind of trump their own.
Yeah,
they're going to try and trump E3 and do their own shit as they always do.
Hey, Chris, this is us fighting Davy Crockett, Davy Jones. Davey from the Sea of Thieves.
I'm not watching the stream. I'm not watching the stream, bro. I'm not trying to get fucking spoiled.
I mean, it's pretty familiar, but I mean, if you're a big fan of this game, like they've added more. They do have some. It feels like there's less latency on the combat now too, which is it feels good. And this is running on Series X. You're seeing the stream at 1080p, of course, but I mean, it looks pretty damn good. The HDR in this game is still top notch. We played this for a couple hours though. Played it for a couple hours. Xbox sent me a big like press thing on it the other day, and I just didn't really mess with it, but I did. I'm gonna get a pet. I'm gonna get a dog or a cat.
I'm gonna get a pet.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a pet. So I don't know. I'm not far enough in to say, hey, this is whatever. But it does seem like it has a lot of content. That Davy Jones battle was pretty long, though, as you guys saw.
Everything's long in that game, isn't it? I need to like make sure I've got snacks and everything ready to go on a journey because it takes hours.
Yeah, it does. Be sure you guys load up with resources before you go out and do this stuff. And of course, let us know if you've tried this yet. We played it for a couple hours today. Chivalry 2. That's definitely, we're coming back to that soon.
Chivalry Timbers.
Dan Lanza, by the way, he says when Xbox bought Bethesda, he says several IGN people said it sets a bad precedent. Did they? That's crazy. Yeah, I believe it. He says, and I thought it was weird. All the IGN guys had a problem with this stuff. All the people said the exact same thing. So it's kind of like a company memo-wide type thing. Old dirty gamer.
Oh my god!
What?
It's the same argument, isn't it? It's this kind of argument about you can't buy a publisher, but you can buy a.
You're not allowed to have that much money. It's unfair.
Development studios and stuff. It's ridiculous. But the thing is that Todd Howard already said in that kind of the kind of acquisition meeting that they've had a relationship with Xbox for so long, and if there's any kind of issues or any problems, first thing he does is pick up the phone to Phil and stuff. Those two companies were so tight before this acquisition happened, and it just made absolute sense that where Bethesda wanted to go, who they wanted to reach, and what Xbox were doing. And
who had the money, right?
Yeah, it made sense on all sides, apart from people who are too stubborn to buy a console or a PC or stream something on a phone because they're so kind of fanatical about one piece of plastic.
Yeah, and you got to mention too, like we've done several times on the show. I'm sure you've talked about it, but ZeniMax this is Tencent, Google, Amazon. All these guys would have bought these guys up, right? And you would have had to stream it from fucking piece of shit Stadia or Amazon, something. Like apparently this purchase is really what put some of these guys out of it. So yeah, Old Dirty Gamer says no. This is a media wide. Don't be PC Jesus. So I guess he's talking to you, Zachary, you fraud. I don't push the media bias thing because I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, and I don't know who the fuck wrote the article, but if it keeps happening, then I just link it to that one site, and there are several sites, and I'm covering this tomorrow. I had a video upload issue yesterday, so I'll have a video out tomorrow about this, where you guys will fucking love that shit. So tune in there. And then Spooky Sprocket says, I love how transparent and accessible the big guns at my Xbox are with the community compared to the big guns over at Sony. That's an absolute fact. I've not seen those guys do any podcasts or, anything, right? Have you?
I think Xbox sets a precedent there. There are times where, I've been asked to handle situations Once with Super Nintendo guy, he couldn't get his rewards refunded. And I went straight to freaking Aaron, and Aaron went right up the ladder and got it handled. There's numerous times that people in the community have come to me and said, please let me handle it. Please help me out here. A lot of times it's with the enforcement group. And what I've learned is they'll basically lie to you. Because I remember one specific occasion where a guy said, this is BS and this and that. And I brought it to Aaron, and then Aaron comes back to me and he goes, well, Tim, the guy refunded 8 games in the span of 6 weeks. And, he did all this. And then, so they don't tell you the truth. But yeah, and I think Zorker even talked about it, the transparency and the connection to the community is there's nothing like that. And this has been in the midst of, if we had no coronavirus, it would have been even more forefront because of Xbox Fan Fest and what they do with that and the different countries, how they do Fan Fest and how they're like real people, and they talk like I've been like I said, I've hung out with some of the executives, like just in LA when they're there, and not only me, other people in the community too. They're just real people, and I think that's they set a precedent there. There's no other big executive company that's doing what they're doing. Most of the time, it's they don't want to know you, or they have somebody walking in front of them so they can guide you, so you can't come up to them and ask them a question.
Yeah, they definitely have
out of the way.
Route. They stiff arms you. Get the fuck out of the way, too.
Yeah, out of the way.
I saw you sleeping at E3.
There was one guy that in Microsoft that did that, and his name was Terry Myerson.
Yep.
He had his own bodyguard, so.
Terry Myerson was the
you
guy that held Xbox
Terry.
back and sucked the funding from Microsoft, and that's why they were in the position they were in for so long.
Speculation, sir.
It's not speculation at all. So, yeah.
Lies.
Lies, I tell you. We're going to go ahead and move forward. Somebody mentioned that in Super Chat. PS5 getting a 120 FPS mode. Warzone, 7 months later. Yeah, they were having some technical issues there, and HDR is disabled as well in this mode, unlike the series consoles. So that's just something I think is good either way, the option. And I'll learn more about that soon behind the scenes. Flight Sim, by the way, the first real next generation game. Everyone knows that. That game looks absolutely phenomenal. Machine learning is in play here. It's in use. And with Series X, it is streaming 2.5 petabytes of data. D-Batch, this is crazy that they're doing this stuff now with games and in general, now with Flight Simulator, and secondly on a home console that you could fit underneath your arm while you're stiff arming Tim Dog.
yeah, it is. Well, their data center's been pretty good, man. Like they have to compete with Google, they have to compete with Amazon, so they've been on their A game, and it is pretty impressive, man, that it's all natively being done in the cloud, and it just goes to show you the value of Game Pass. Like I know I say it like a broken record, but Game Pass is like such a good freaking.
Uh-oh. They heard what he
said.
He's
right. He's 100% right.
They heard what he said about Game Pass. He said, D-Bat said too many good things about it. Mute his mic. Yeah, I don't know what happened to D. I'm sorry, chat. I wanted more from D too. But yeah, 2.5 petabytes. What is that? Like thousands, and that's
thousands of terabytes.
Yeah, that's an insane amount of data. And just imagine that your Xbox is full 5 million times there. That's so much data. And they're doing all this stuff in real time. They're using that hardware in the box. So that's really, really cool. And Flight Simulator is one of those games where you're going to boot it up. And Dar's Nice playing it right now. He's just blown away by it every single time he sees it. So I'm looking forward to seeing it on console. Didn't play with it much on PC because I don't like spending my time on the PC too much. But if you did play it on PC, let us know what you think and how impressive it is. Microsoft also developing cloud-native games. They hired the X Stadia designer, X keyword, and Portal developer from Valve. Zauker, did you look into this at all with the native cloud gaming? This is interesting because, after all, they are targeting your TV, your remote control can opener, your fridge, and your cell phone, and even other older consoles will get xCloud.
Yeah, I think it's more because people were like, "Oh, it's only going to be on xCloud, and that's all we get." No, that's not what they're trying to. I don't think that's what they're saying. I think they're saying that they're going to use the power of the cloud to make this game.
You
so,
were requiring a connection, all that.
Yeah, you require internet connection. You'll need stuff like what some people don't know, and it's been confirmed multiple times, is that the Sea of Thieves water is powered by the cloud, right? So things like that, features that could only be done through the cloud. So they're going to try to push things within this game to actually show you what the cloud is capable of, right? Like, so Sea of Thieves is one with the water, the destructible thing that we saw in Crackdown, which was terrible. But again, everybody was like, yo, that's kind of a shitty thing to talk about, was Crackdown 3. But at the end of the day,
that project got interrupted. Like, that team's got sold off.
It got interrupted, but it's also somewhere where they kind of learned, right? They kind of were just like, wow, we can do this and this. And it was their first, like, kind of foray into that. So that's what they're talking about with this person. And somebody that's created Portal, man, give them anything they need, because Portal is one of the best games ever made. If you haven't played it, go play it. So I'm really looking forward to what they can put together on this. I don't know if it's going to be a big team, but I know that if you're going to take the cloud and put something within it for a game, I want to see what they can do. Because if Sea of Thieves can do that with the water, I want to see what other game they can do, and maybe Destructible Environment, have something cool in there, or even something like Flight Simulator, right? So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean the console's rendering the visual in, but the physics and how the servers mesh and meld together to tie the players together in real time instant, all that stuff. That is all cloud based, and the physics and all that stuff is all tied to that as well. So really, really interesting.
And it wasn't like a big announcement, right? Like, they didn't waste time at an event. They didn't do anything. It was just kind of like, hey, it's Tuesday. Like, we're just going to announce this right now. And that's what I like. That's what I like. Xbox is kind of done that, where they just announce things continuously. They're not making a big deal out of everything, right? Like, so that's what I enjoy. Is like, even the Bethesda thing was dropped on a Monday morning. Like, here you go. Fuck you, Sam.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I can say that it is a big deal that they got her, and I do subscribe to what Grubb is reporting. The great Jeffrey Grubb is saying that this is in conjunction with Kojima, his project that basically was going to go on to Stadia, and then it fell through. Probably because they didn't want to fund it, they didn't want to spend money, and that's been picked up by Xbox, and that's what the discussions are about, and that's directly related to that. To that. So, if that's all true, and I kind of have an inkling that it is true, based on certain things that I've heard and things that I've known for a while. I think that's real, and I think that's going to be announced. Could be a year, could be next E3, but it's going to be announced, and I think it's going to be a huge thing for Xbox. I might not be the biggest Kojima fan. We've discussed that. Fonzarelli's said the same thing, but you cannot deny the guy is an icon in the industry, and a lot of people love his stuff. So I do, like I said, I subscribe to what Jeffrey is reporting. And that's great.
Yeah, Jeff Grubb talked about that also. And the one thing I always notice is Kojima always talked about making a game like Death Stranding. Even he was like, it's about a social thing. It's about humans, right? Like, it's about our connectivity with each other. I wouldn't be surprised if this game is that, where it involves a lot of socializing, involves a lot of people, and involves like our phones, probably. Like, that's the way I was looking at it. Like, if it's online all the time, our phones are always online, stuff's always online. Like watch him do something.
Isn't it a mobile game though?
No, not like a mobile game. I'm saying, like, let's say you do something.
No, this game that Kojima may be doing with Xbox, it's like
no, it's an
native,
xCloud.
right?
Well, no, it's not like just mobile though. That's the point. Like, I think it's just involving the servers, like Azure, the cloud-based stuff, right? So I think, like, let's say you do something in the game on your console, like your phone goes off, so you have to use your phone to complete, like, hit something or do some puzzle, like something like that is what I'm saying. Like, they'll make it interactive enough within there. That's just what I'm thinking.
Like what they did with Ingress.
Well, like, kind of like what's their face? Division almost did, right? Like, your buddies can be playing on Xbox or PC, and then your other buddy can be a drone on a tablet in the group, stuff like that.
I think he's going to try something that's very unique and tries to do something similar to that, or some type of idea where it's traditional gaming. It is some of that, but it's also some of this new stuff. Who knows? Maybe it's like it could be anything, and that's the fun of it.
Yeah.
It's something that we
I-
can look forward to.
Hopefully, he brings back MySpace. That'd be great.
Oh shit! You know Tom ain't giving that up
Who
easily.
knows?
You know what?
I agree with Zorka though. I agree with what Zorka was saying. If he does some type of like psychological, kind of thriller or whatever the genre or concept is, you could be kind of checking text messages. You could be replying to text messages on like a physical device and stuff to allow you to do kind of multiple things at once. I think the likes of the Forza team could use it for, similar to how Flight Sim are using it in terms of they could use it for kind of realistic weather, weather as it happens during different events or series. Obviously, we believe that the new Forza tech, they've gone kind of improved all the physics. They've improved like tire models and stuff like that. So you've got all that kind of, the car setups. You've got all the kind of, telemetry and stuff like that. So I think there's lots of things that kind of game designers and developers can do with that power now, which is, allowing them to kind of share things with, real-time telemetry, all of these things that kind of, hugely kind of process attacks and stuff, on the fly or on the machine. So I think there could be some exciting, games or kind of extra features as we move forward.
You know what was exciting? Sorry, man, I got cut off. Microsoft said, "Nope, you're not talking. We're doing an update." My bad. But with Flight Sim, one of the things that I love that they did is the weather that 100% accurate. I remember when they had that big hurricane. I can't remember the name of it, but it was a huge one, and everybody was flying into it, and it was like accurately where it was at each time where it was, and that's like, I don't know. You could do that with Forza if you implement real time weather. Like, there's so many possibilities. Like, developers this generation, man, they really got a lot of tools, man. And I just hope they create some awesome stuff, man.
Yeah, definitely. The Forza, I mean, I think I've said this I might even said it here, but I know I've kind of mentioned some things on some other shows. Like they're bringing back like tire compounds for those in the chat that want to know. Motorsport, they're bringing back like the Forza 2 style. I'm hearing this from multiple people, and the game looks incredible. It's also running on last-gen hardware apparently, as a test or rather to see what they can do. They apparently got it up and running, but it's definitely struggling. And with console shortages, I wouldn't be surprised to hear about more cross-generation games. Again, doesn't mean it's held back, as Master Chief just proved, as Horizon 5 just proved. That engine, by the way, Horizon 5, that's still the current engine on Horizon 4, just kind of updated, and they are waiting for their new engine, apparently, to do like more full-time, real-time ray tracing and games like that. And that's a big deal, because again, software is key. You got to have the software. You can't get nothing out of the hardware without the software, and their engine's a big part of that. So they're working on that next generation Forza engine right now at Turn 10, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that thing shift over immediately to the next Horizon game. Top quality.
Did you see how Forza Horizon after E3 shot up in the UK to 22?
Yep.
So I mean, just goes to show you, that's a big franchise, and particularly that was the highlight of the show for me. I mean, when we saw those graphics, I mean, I was like, "What is this?" And then there's a freaking car flying by. I'm like, "Wow!" It's like I couldn't believe how well they pulled it off. But yeah, they're a special dev that Xbox has, and it's great to see.
Yeah, it is. Definitely. Let me get a few of these super chats real quick. God, the blessed one, says the best part about being obsessed with video game news is knowing that Xbox is definitely coming up. He's basically seeing them dominate before they do, and he's seeing all of the writing on the wall before a lot of others. I think he's referring more to the IGN conversation and all that. Shout out to you, brother. ABAC B72. He says why wait till the end of the year? Question mark. Isn't the Gamescom? Oh yeah, there's Gamescom still. Are they even doing that, Tim? Yep. Gamescom?
I've heard nothing about that, and I have put feelers out on that stuff. The only thing I've kind of been steered is that I do think they're going to have a big presence at the game show. I mean, the Game Awards for the reason that they have 45 million viewers.
Yeah.
It's huge. So why not use it there?
Yeah, and Sinua, that worked out last year, or 2019 rather, pretty well.
What's up with the gameplay footage? A lot of screen tearing in this game.
Yeah, I noticed that, and I was asking because I didn't know how much of that was coming across. I didn't even know what HDMI was in, so I was like, "Is that me? What's going on?" So yeah, there was some screen tearing going on with this patch, and I don't know if that was for everyone or what. But let us know if you are having any issues with that.
I
didn't have much.
And they said that the Series X, there's a lot of screen tearing with this game for some reason.
I mean, there wasn't the time I had played it before this update, so I'm not sure. I couldn't speak on it. I don't have a lot of experience in Sea of Thieves, as you know.
I'm very sensitive to it, and I see it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't. I saw like a tiny bit when we started playing, but then it all cleared up for me, so I don't know whether it was just kind of, yeah. Me too, because it was like a 4-player co-op and network stuff. I'm not sure.
We're doing the Johnny Depp expansion.
No, I'm saying what I've heard though that it's reviewing tremendous. People are really enjoying it.
Yeah, it seems pretty full of content. I mean, it definitely introduces a lot of new elements, which is cool. But still, I want that Pirate Hub City. That's what I want. But I guess we'll see. Maybe. But yeah, A, B, C, D, they aren't doing it at Gamescom, and they would do it in December instead because they've got plenty of news to roll out, little bitty things, and they're going to let that trail off. They'll let that stuff breathe as much as possible. Then they'll drop something big at the end of the year to start
at the
new year.
The Keeleys, people.
And I just have to say, the one thing that annoys me about some Xbox fans is that like Sony's going to have a show probably in July or August, and it's probably going to look really good, and they're going to have a good show. All I would say is that you don't have to lose any faith in Xbox because Sony has a good show. Mm-hmm. Right now I could just see the community is like so happy and everyone's into it. But it's like the first thing that when Sony shows something that's like jaw dropping, I see the comments and I see people start to go the other way. Have a little resolve this time, just realize that, they're both they're on top of their game too. They're a big boy out there. They're gonna have big games. They're gonna wow you, and the best bet is to get both consoles and really not sweat over this stuff. But
well said, Tim.
It's just like that's the only thing I can see is like I really am enjoying what's going on right now in the community and Twitter and a lot of the guys.
I wouldn't worry about the community, man. I wouldn't worry about the Xbox community getting all negative. If anything, I would say that a lot of the Sony people will be extremely excited, but then they'll just start hating on the Xbox one. That's the only thing I know I'm going to see. And it's like, why not be happy for both? Like, we all watch every single show and event excited because we're going to play those games. Like, I beat Ratchet and Clank over the weekend. I had a good time with it.
In one sitting, it was 5 hours.
It was like 11 or 12 hours.
11 hours?
About 12 hours.
Yeah.
To me, Psychonauts looks really good. Like, what do you guys think?
I'm gonna play it. Psychonauts is there. We're gonna play that too. I don't know, man. I just want everybody to just enjoy what they're gonna enjoy. And if people do get negative about it, just ignore them. Like, who cares what they think? Those people don't matter.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I just hate that when
He's talking about people that are they just so easy for them to start shitting on Xbox. Yeah, because Sony show one game, and I get you want that competition. That's why we asked for it. But yeah, I'm not gonna sit there and act like everything I'm playing sucks now.
Like, we can obviously say confidently that Xbox right now is really doing a great job, and the games are coming now. You look at the Game Pass schedule. There's a game every 2 weeks now. Some are smaller than others, but you're going to get a big Forza Horizon game. And man, we really haven't talked about it, but Halo. I look more and more at that stuff and some of the models that they're showing in game.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, I don't remember they were looking like plastic last year and everyone was complaining.
Yeah, did you see that video I shared in our chat there, Tim?
Yeah.
It compared. Yeah, that thing is amazing. Yeah.
Crazy. That like you should post that on Twitter.
I did. Yeah, I did last night.
I cannot believe the difference.
But it's held back.
Like a big even like the split, like the scene where Master Chief's in the cutscene and his armor is like it was just like a green gumpy like looking thing in the other
like
one.
It was perfect.
Now
That's
it's
exactly
like,
the problem we had with it last year,
yeah,
and they fixed all of that. Yeah, and it's so funny how people will say, "Yeah, we didn't see the gameplay, so yep, nothing's fixed." And I'm like, we didn't have a problem with the gameplay. The gameplay was just fine. It was the look of the game.
Yeah.
So it's weird, man.
Yeah. I mean, again, that's we were some of the few that were putting that out there. This stuff is not held back and blah 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 blah. But I just don't want you guys to panic anymore about that stuff. And Fonz, you were going crazy over that held back stuff recently?
No, not at all.
What game was it that was confirmed? God of War or did you make a video about that?
Oh, when it comes to like I'm not going crazy over it, but I do want to see these companies innovate more within scope and gameplay.
I want to teleport
game
everywhere.
design. Because I want to see new things happening for these consoles for sure, but at the same time, like I've said countless times now, 99.9% of the games we have are completely scalable, and there's no reason we should be held back at all with most of these games.
Yes, sir. Hey, by the way, shout out to over 1,500 people watching us live, guys. Hit the like button if you haven't. Let's try to get up closer to 1,000 for the end of the show. We do appreciate it. Let us know your thoughts as we move along here, guys. And I might even take a topic that hasn't been brought up yet, throw them out there, and I will hopefully see them, and maybe we can add one here. But Grumpy and Grimpy does say, with cloud streaming being he's basically saying, will cloud storage help remedy some of the actual local storage issues that we're having? Call of Duty Modern Warfare is, that game's 200 gigs. It's nuts, right? A big answer for them is DirectML with basically using the I/O throughput of the box to up-res and de-res textures in real time. So you don't have to download 4K assets anymore. And as long as they template these things like through a model algorithm they have on their end, developers, that's for them to figure out. But long story short, they can save you 20, 30 gigs of space with textures alone. And Playground have already been experimenting with this a long time ago. So that's definitely something, and they want everyone to be able to use that. They're not going to lock it down and make it proprietary. They would, this is for the good of basically anybody with an SSD that's full, right? Which is a lot of us. Me and Shady were just talking about this. There's developers that are putting games. Shout out to Drix too. I'll get to you in a second, brother. There's developers that are putting games locked mandatory to the SSD, the internal or the expansion card of the Series X and S that do not need to fucking be there. And it's stupid. And it's a competition thing is what it is. So you'll get Maneater, this damn shark game, or even Human Fall Flat, which is now Series X enhanced, quote unquote. And it needs to be on the SSD. If you move it, it won't work. That game doesn't need a fucking SSD to work. It's a checkbox on their end that they are hitting and making it mandatory. So do what Activision did, one thing they've done right here, and they let you play Modern Warfare, the 2019, the best Call of Duty, in my opinion, especially the multiplayer, and they let you move that to an external. So I get an external T5. It loads just as quick as the internal almost on games that aren't really leveraging the I/O, and it plays the same. Sea of Thieves is one of them. Microsoft are letting us move a lot of our games over that don't need an SSD. For some reason, Gears needs one. Forza doesn't need one technically. On PC, console, it doesn't use one, but they have those locked, but at least some of their games they're doing it with. But more developers need to stop making people hold these games on that internal SSD. That space is just too used up, Fonzarelli. How much space you got left?
I got a bunch because I get rid of games all the time.
Oh,
so,
shit.
I keep what I'm playing, and that's about it. So I have maybe 5 or 6 games at a time on both consoles. I never fill it up. Never.
Hey, Lopez, I don't know if he's talking to me, but yeah. Shout out to Drix, by the way. Check him out on iTunes, man. His stuff's good. He says he hopes the whole team at 343 is lauded for the work that they've done, the work that they've always intended. Joseph Staten is a legend. Yes, he's the guy they brought back with the multiplayer from the classic ones. He says that we want. They want to see his real impact until the post-launch. So he's got a lot of plans after the game comes out. They want this game to live for a while and grow and all that stuff, and that feeds into the model Game Pass as well. And then we got Jay Castaway. He says, have you guys seen 343 investigating 40, 60 players in Halo Master Chief. So they're testing out 40 to 60 player man servers in Master Chief Collection, apparently. That could be interesting. Chat, let us know what you think about that. You got 60 man battles in Halo, like Battlefield or even Chivalry, right? But not with swords. Interesting.
Or swords only.
Yeah, Halo Master Chief swords only. You know, not the energy swords. I'm talking old ass steel swords.
Chivalry swords.
Just beating the shit out of each other with swords. I'd play it. I'd also play a version of 2K where the basketball is replaced with a brick.
or big head mode.
Oh man. But yeah, chat, let us know what you think about that as well. That's interesting. I didn't know they were testing 60-man Master Chief Collection. So that'll be interesting. Starfield, by the way. A lot of guys were talking about the trailer, and there were some impressive moments in the trailer, but I thought it looked completely realistic. Like, this is what the game will look like, just like with Fallout 4, how they showed that. Well, that was constructed entirely in-game. No cinematic tools were used, and they have only clarified that because even that, they were trying to say that there was some fakery with it or something.
Didn't we know that, though?
I feel like we did.
Yeah, we knew
I
that
feel like
going
I
in.
would look at that and not accuse it of being fake even. Why the hell are people they're so quick to jump on this shit? Because Xbox.
Because people are weird.
Yeah, man.
I'll tell you that again.
They be
Weird.
weirdos.
I think it looks
Didn't it
great.
say
though,
like
honest.
in engine? Didn't they say
They can't
on
read
the screen,
Zucker.
like
Yeah.
in engine? Like you just said that.
You can
I
look
mean, I
at
don't
the
understand.
game. You can look at the game running and know that it was in engine. It was kind of evident. Like it looked good, but it didn't look like, oh my god, like it's CGI. Like it looked very realistic, like what Dealer said. So
I mean, think of it as a big open world, though, man. Like, it looked that realistic, and it's a massive, like, think of Skyrim and think of, like, Fallout, like how big those worlds are. And people need to realize that for that much detail, for how big that game is going to be, like, this is their new creation engine, right? So people gotta understand that this is going to be the first time we're going to see that tech and what they've developed for the last 5 years with that engine. So
and
this is
really
the big reason why they got bought.
It's interesting because to piggyback off what you said, this is going to be, Todd Howard said it, their biggest world ever, or worlds, I should say, because you're in space. But this is going to be their biggest game ever. And just to see what it looks like there in that little trailer is like a slice of what we're going to get in the game. And man, and if it's going to be that huge, man, I can't wait. I'm so excited for this game.
Call it a Han Solo simulator, aren't they? And I think
they said it's Han Solo. They said it's like your Han Solo, basically, and that's like their take on it.
And Pete Hines was saying there was a Twitter Spaces kind of earlier this week or the end of last week. It was, I think, Aaron Greenberg and Pete Hines were on. And Pete was saying they were like absolutely super proud of like the engine. And then he was telling a story about kind of, they like the cockpit that the guys in, they've built it like every button, every switch, is all there for purpose. It's not just kind of fluff. And then he said a story about like Matt Booty had contacted Tim and the guys and said like, the pilot did do something where he was like turning on the engines and it was like it wouldn't have started and stuff, and then apparently like Todd Howard came back at him and said, but actually you missed this, and it did. So they were having this kind of like internal, kind of like, dick measuring competition about like how to start spaceships and stuff. But it was, I think that game's going to be phenomenal. I think, the fact that all of those things are built for a reason,
Honestly, it's a compliment that these people are saying, no, that's CGI. It's like, okay, thanks, because the game's going to look this good. It doesn't look crazy like some of the stuff we've seen from, Hellblade 2. It doesn't look that crazy realistic, but it looks realistic in the sense that this is what we're going to get day one with this game. And it looks like a Bethesda game. However, the animations do look better. I've watched my son just recently playing Fallout 4, and I'm looking at I went to the trailer to see the animation again and compared it. And I was like, yeah, you could tell there's this new engine is definitely better, and I cannot wait to play this game. I'm so excited, man. I've been excited since I've heard about this game, but yeah, it can't come soon enough.
Hey, shout out to Rookie Monster. Yeah, I was thinking there was a time where that was actually XS symbol on the cover of it, right? So I was thinking of a different game, but it was same point applies. Who was it? Somebody mentioned in the chat. I'll find you and I'll try to give you a shout out, brother. I'll come back to that. But Capono says that he was shocked when he found out Stalker 2 was 150 gigs. So I mean, expect these kind of game sizes, and maybe it is like you're saying here. How do I pronounce that? Quasman. He's saying that some of these could be based on how they're actually ported to the console. So you have Gen 9 aware. You've got back compat with nothing done. It just thinks it's running on Xbox One, and then you've got Gen 9 or some crap, and all this other stuff that determines, I guess, what type of game it is, even though we know that some games that were fully in the full next-gen mode didn't actually. So if that's the case, then the guys buying Maneater, a game that already ran at 4K 60, it looked like on the 1X, they put it in this full Gen 9 mode, and that might have locked it to the internal or the expansion card. And that's something that, maybe that's what did it. I'd have to check. But Human Fall Flat, there's no reason that should be in a Gen 9 mode. I mean, it don't even run locked even now on the Series X. So that's
hey, Dealer, we got an important question from the chat. Others Inc. asked, is Starfield going to be exclusive?
I think I heard them say that, and then they plastered it 5 times at the end of the trailer and then at the end of the conference. And then Phil said, hey, y'all need an Xbox exclusive. Yeah.
One thing about Starfield that I'm really noticing, and I'm sure everyone's noticed, is the trending of it. I think it's at 11 million now. People are really interested in the game. As a joke, I literally typed Starfield on my Twitter.
I saw it,
and I look at my followers just go, and I look at the tweet, and it just grows. And it's funny because I know it's just the hype. People are really, really, really hyped about that game.
Of course it is. It's Skyrim in space. Like, you know how many casuals love Bethesda games? This game is massive. Like, it's going to be huge.
I mean, did you guys watch the second part? I mean,
yes, I did.
And that part, I thought there was some like concept art or whatever, like them showing them going into
the cities and stuff.
Yeah,
oh my gosh, that stuff looks so cool.
I got it for Starfield. I think people are like what Tim was saying, that it has like 11 million or whatever the hell it is. I think people are kind of like sleeping on it even more. Because like Bethesda games are games people like steer clear of, right? Like when Red Dead came out, all the other developers were like, let's kind of steer clear from this. When Fallout 4 came out, I remember Rise of the Tomb Raider came out like around the same time or even the same day, and people were like idiots. Like that's just
I remember
like that's what Bethesda does. Like it's a clearer. Like they clear the schedule. Like people work around that. So that's what Starfield's going to be next year, is that it's going to be that schedule clear that other developers avoid. That's how big this game is going to be. And I guarantee you after next summer when we see the gameplay, it's going to be even more insane. And I think that it's going to kill the E3 shows next year. And I think people are going to be really pissed after that. Like Pete Hines is really going to need to apologize after that shit. I'm just saying, man. Like people sleep on that, man.
You know what they need to do? They need to have Aaron Greenberg come out after they show their deep dive with Todd Howard, and he goes, "And I'm not sorry," and walk off the stage.
Just walks out of the stage and just has a "I'm not sorry" shirt on and just flips off the camera and walks off. I can't wait.
Boy,
who was it said he just needs to go make more ketchup or something? I don't remember.
Oh, I think I said that. Mustard,
so
yeah, something like that. Yeah. So dumb.
Hey, again, shout out to everyone watching, guys. Hit the like button if you haven't. Chat, by the way, I had a little secret for you, and don't tell nobody, but Starfield is exclusive.
Oh,
exclusive.
Shit. Yeah.
Oh shit! IGN didn't know. They're
and we're just. I was just saying that to rub it in people's faces that are real douchebags about it. You know.
But it's crazy still. Like they had articles the day after saying there's still a chance it's coming.
Yeah.
I was just like, you got to be kidding me. This is like
there's still.
Well, what's worse is the people that were sharing the article, Tim, not knowing the quote in the article was fucking from last year.
And you know what? Ironically, they probably have the same haircut as Lloyd Christmas from that movie as well.
Oh shit!
Why you got to be that way?
Because they're weird.
All right. Well,
topic of the, that's a big thing for the show. That's the word of the day. Weird.
Hey, shout out to Spooky Sprocket again. Seriously, brother, shout out to you. I didn't know you were from Australia, man. Holy crap. Are you?
I didn't either.
Hang on. Is that what that A means? I think that's what the A means.
Spooky.
Well, shout out. That's creepy, as Assassin's Creed Origins will say. No, seriously, thank you. He says, David Jaffe said, he did go on a big rant, didn't he? He said, he says, David Jaffe said it best, PlayStation crybabies crying, anti-consumer that Xbox is getting exclusives. It's not anti-consumer. It's simple. It's simple. It's simple business. It's simple capitalism. And again, I guess some people feel that exclusives are anti-consumer. The only thing that would be anti-consumer to me would be, if you're holding a product, part of a product.
Advertising, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. They're grasping at straws at this point. Like, let's just cry about anything at this point. This generation is just full of crybabies. It's weird.
Well, there's
a couple of petitions.
The number one thing is money. Money talks, people. Look at Steven Spielberg. Talk shit about Netflix and everything, and his production company just signed a deal with him today. No matter what you say, money talks. So that's where people are going to go. That's where developers are going to go. If you want to know what everybody's motivation is, follow that paper.
You've been leaving the papers on the floor. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I saw 2 petitions as well this week. So I think there was one Starfield to PlayStation, and there was also Jim Ryan to be fired.
Oh God!
Two massive ends of the spectrum.
Well, it's so weird, Chris, because anytime Sony do well and they make a lot of money with that division, they are bragging about Sony making money, even though they're not getting paid. But then when Jim Ryan's making all the same moves after seeing Microsoft do these things, that's going to make them more money. They're wanting them out because their software isn't limited to one device anymore.
It's interesting, isn't it?
It sure is. Sure is, Jim Ryan. We're waiting to get Jim Ryan on the show, by the way. Oh, speaking of bragging about corporations' monies, Microsoft hit $2 trillion market cap today. Somebody messaged me on Xbox and reminded me of that, which I don't care about personally, but I think it's interesting because I thought it was not long ago they hit $1 trillion.
Yeah, very quick. And Satya is all in on gaming. That's all you need to know. $2 trillion, and your CEO is wearing a Halo Infinite sweater. There's a lot to be said.
There sure is a lot to be said. That's a ton of money. And hopefully they invest. They've already invested a lot of it back into the product, back into the community. So speaking of that, EA reportedly announcing a Dead Space revival here soon, maybe. I need this.
Rumor. Yeah.
It is.
It's a rumor.
I will take even a remake at this point of their, games. Dead Space is phenomenal, man. That series is unbelievable.
Could you imagine it now, Fonz?
I know. That's why I said if they were to remake this game, man, I would say I would even take a remaster, but at this point, I'm just done with remasters. I want to see remakes, man. I want to see remakes or maybe just a sequel altogether.
Even Dead Space 3 on PC.
I just want a new whole Dead Space. I'm sick of the remasters and going back. Like, I had a hard time playing Mass Effect, the first one, the controls and stuff. I know it's a little better, but I was just kind of like, I want something better, man. Like, I'm tired of this, remaster just to get more money. Like, look at GTA, right? Like, fuck.
Not the same
can
thing.
we just get the new one? Yeah. I know it's not.
That's
but
actually worse because that game's
Space.
been fucking re-released 6 times or some shit.
I know, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like just put it, like Dead Space. Just release a whole new Dead Space game with next-gen stuff and next-gen controls and just give me that. Like, I love Dead Space. And if we got a remake, sure, I'll check it out and play it. But I just, come on, give us something different.
Dude, Metro Exodus. If you guys chat, let me know if you booted up Metro Exodus with this patch. Holy shit.
Yeah. It's a different game. The lighting.
Yeah. I mean, the real-time ray tracing for the lighting. I mean, I'm picturing Dead Space and a kind of reboot, right? With real-time lighting with that ray tracing and just seeing these things peer out of the darkness slowly and how this stuff would just... It would look insane. Combined with the CPU and stuff, with all the different animations they can make these freaking things do now. I need it, EA. I need it. If they rebooted it, they could do that. If they remade it,
a remake?
I don't know. It's a rumor. But
a remake, I'm down for a remake for sure.
I think didn't Jeff Grubb like post something saying it's not Dead Space, and he posted like a monster kicking like 18 people in the air, and he's like, EA and your predictions, like kicking. I don't know, I love.
Yeah. I want it to be Dead Space. I'm just saying what I want because I think the Dead Space was good enough. It was one of their really good franchises, and then they made that studio make Battlefield Hardline, and then they shut them down because that wasn't successful. So
it's also something that many people want, and it would sell like hotcakes. There's no reason why you don't want to bring this franchise back.
I think it's gonna come back. To be honest,
it's a what?
I think it's gonna come back. Just exactly what Fonzarelli said. The game is going to be a slam dunk. It'll make a lot of money. The genre is, it's proven that you can, like with Resident Evil, make a lot of money. And people listen. That game it's like scary stuff in space. Is you can't lose with that. So I think it's going to happen.
I want it to happen, Tim. That's the only thing I can focus on. I need it. Dead Space is great. Dead Space 3, really fun co-op. Some people don't care for it. I know the atmosphere wasn't quite as dark, but the co-op was still a blast for me. Don Otaku, by the way, says about giant-sized games, what's going on with back compat? BC Pack. Yeah, that's definitely in the works. Decompression. He says Kraken has been working. Yeah, that's... Again, they're tying all this stuff into these new GPUs, and I think it's more of a feature set that just isn't ready. Just like a lot of their stuff wasn't ready at the launch of the Xbox, and they're still not used today on PC. It's just behind, which we've talked about that before. But Kraken definitely is being used, and that is pretty cool because Control is like 25 gigs, I think, on PS5, and it's 40 or so on Xbox. I mean, that's because of that Kraken. So, pretty neat. DirectML will definitely help you as well when that releases. Drix says there's plenty of time to save up for an Xbox, and he's quoting Yasunori Ono. Who is that? Who's anybody know?
No idea.
Okay. Well, shout out to him.
No idea.
Johnny No Life. He says he saw a petition on Twitter today to bring Starfield to PlayStation with like 3,000 signatures. You need 150,000 or it ain't getting addressed. I'm sorry.
They all want it.
They all want it. Let us know your thoughts on that chat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, everyone here who wants to play like a PlayStation exclusive or whatever has got no problem buying a PlayStation.
I definitely don't go start a petition.
Like if you're like that much into games, that you're on Twitter all the time, you're doing all these rants, you're doing all this begging. You should have both consoles there so you don't miss out on anything. Like I have a PlayStation 5, I have a Series X. I don't want to miss out on anything. Ratchet and Clank came out, I bought it, downloaded it. I'm about to play it tonight. I don't have to miss out on the game. I don't have to watch a YouTube video about it. I can play the game. I have the option. You got two versions of the Xbox. You got the Series S if you don't want to spend a lot of money and you just want to play the exclusives. You got the Xbox Series X if you want the best looking graphics and the best multiplats. And all you guys out there that complain all the time, apparently you have PCs, so you can play the Microsoft games on PC too. So, and you can play it really cheap if you have Game Pass. So, like, just shut up already.
Well, it's hard to get a console right now, and I feel for those guys. For a lot of people that can't get consoles like that, but that's the beauty of games that come forward with you and kind of go where you want. You can play it on your old stuff. I will give them that. Like, that's something that a lot of people didn't give enough credit for, is how they've enabled us to transition and still remember we couldn't even talk to our damn friends in 2013 when we moved over boxes. Like, this is completely different, and I like this a lot about this model. Is you just upgrade the box. It probably doesn't know any better, and it just works, right? How it's built to work, and you get the benefits of that.
To be clear, I was just addressing, these fake fans, not the guys looking for Xboxes. You guys know I'm out there trying to help.
Yeah.
Even PlayStation guys get consoles, so it's not those guys. It's the fake guys. The fake outrage, the actor.
Fake outrage. Yeah.
The damn scalpers. We need to scalper some scalpers. I want 50 scalps. Inglourious Bastards. That movie's pretty weird, but pretty good.
That's
anyways,
a damn good movie.
It is. Yeah, it is. It really is. D-Batch, I want you to talk about AMD Fidelity FX, the DLSS competitor that is going to really dramatically improved performance on. This isn't some bullshit, right? This is like AMD's version of system level checkerboarding, but better, right? And I explain it like that because a lot of people understand what I'm trying to say there. It'll save you a ton of performance. You'll maintain visual fidelity in terms of a frame buffer, and it can extend to individual parts of the scene. Even this is big, and it can literally double your frame rate given the right conditions. Or you can, or if you're already at 60, you can put all those frames back into visual effects or even resolution that isn't native. But this is launching today, right, D?
Yeah. So yeah, it launched today. It's launched. So it's just a matter of time before Microsoft announces the first games on the Series X to have it. They did have an official release, a press release saying that they're looking forward to having it on the Xbox Series X, whatever, on their consoles, and they'll tell us about it another time. Coming soon, whatever. So today, I was excited and nervous for today because this was either going to look really good and be a real advantage for AMD hardware and older hardware too, or it was just going to be really bad. And I have to say, I'm impressed. It lived up to the hype for me personally. Now, I know some people out there that did see the review saying, "Oh, it's not quite like DLSS." It's not quite as clear, but in all honesty, I don't think it needs to be. I think if you use the ultra or the quality presets, like it looks amazing. Like we're getting good results here. We're getting like 40%, 60% better frames. And I'm talking on the good modes. Of course, you can get more using, the lower performance modes, but I don't think most gamers are going to go for that. And I don't think on the consoles, they're going to implement like the balance or the performance mode. They're probably going to have the quality and the ultra quality mode, so you get more frames so that you don't lose.
It's their first generation too, right? DLSS is already a couple in, so this will get better throughout time.
This will get better. DLSS, it's a little bit different where they analyze the previous frames, temporal upscaling, whatever, and then they spit it out through their their algorithm, through their tensor cores and their neural network, right? So it is a little bit better, but at the same time, Microsoft does have DirectML, and a lot of people keep forgetting that the Xbox Series X actually has some dedicated hardware in there for acceleration, for machine learning, and ray tracing. And this is going to come into effect. So, like, I would be stunned if Microsoft didn't enable this on the Xbox Series X, to be quite honest with you. And when it does get implemented, it's going to be truly like a DLSS solution because it's going to be using a neural network and it's going to be doing, similar things. And then I just want to address this real quick. I saw some idiots today on Twitter. They're like, "Oh, see, this proves that the PlayStation 5 has RDNA 2 because it's getting super resolution on it." Like, you morons. Like sorry to be so rough, but like these guys, like they got to be put in their place. These aren't regular fans. These guys are just extremists, right? And they're talking about, "Oh, this proves that the PS5 has RDNA 2. First of all, the PlayStation 5, for the last time, please, does not have all the RDNA 2 features.
Dude, just start with the fact. Just say, "Hey, look, my Vega graphics card has RDNA 2 then because it works on that."
Yeah, exactly. This is working on Polaris cards. It's working on really old cards, man, that are not RDNA 2 based. So this is not an RDNA 2 feature. It's an AMD feature, and I think it's excellent that they allow it to work on the competition. But from what I've seen today, it doesn't work as good on the competition's cards as it does on AMD.
Naturally.
But yeah, it's great technology. I can't wait to see the first games on Series X that will demonstrate it. Like I said in my video today, I think Resident Evil is probably going to be the first title because it does support this. So I hope to hear something soon from Microsoft on the consoles. Go ahead, Tim.
Well, I heard, I know specifically that I know somebody who's seen it in action, and I know that they've been testing it within their, whatever you want to call it, Xbox labs. And from what I've heard is that it's really a game changer for the Xbox Series S, because you could basically have a resolution of 512 or 520 or whatever, and it looks like 1080p, and you can have a resolution of 1080p and it looks like 4K. It is super impressive, and it is going to really, I think, be most beneficial to the S. Obviously, it's going to be beneficial to the Series X, but I think it's going to
GPU limited stuff. Yeah,
yeah, it's going to really make the S launch a bigger punch, and they specifically waited, and this is a fact, they specifically waited for the machine learning hardware technology. That's why they waited on the silicon, as well as VRS 2.0, that hardware, and that's why they're behind, and that's probably why they're also behind in development as well. As far as they're not producing as many consoles as Sony. Obviously, Sony is more popular, so they're going to get a little bit of an upper hand there. But I do think that also added to that. That they basically waited for this technology. So it is an absolute fact that they're going to weigh in on this technology, in the near future. I heard it's going to be ready to go, or you're going to start to see stuff next year.
Yeah, Metro Exodus, real quick, and I'll kind of wrap it up. But Metro Exodus, the patches for the consoles. I mean, the game looks incredible. It runs as low as internally, and keep in mind this is incredible. You can even do this. Keep this in mind. Metro Exodus is one of the most demanding games of all time on PC to this day. This is a new version of that game that you can only use with ray tracing GPUs. You can't play it with an old GPU anymore. It has to be a 20 series or above with NVIDIA, and of course with AMD, their ray tracing stuff now. You can't use it on the older stuff. So that version of the game came to consoles, completely rebuilt, and the Series S is running that game internally as low as around 540p or whatever, right? They're reconstructing that up to what looks like 1080p, and it's doing that with the real-time ray trace lighting, again, one of the most visually demanding effects of all time, combined with 60 frames per second on a $300 console.
That's the key. 60 FPS, man, with ray tracing. That is the key to this technology, because most of these games, they're running at 60 FPS now. It's just the odd game that's running at 30 for whatever reason. But the majority are running 60 FPS. But ray tracing, that's where we get hit on the consoles and even on PC, man. So like I believe they use a temporal solution in their engine as well. Maybe Chris can confirm that. But that's where FSR is really going to shine on ray trace games. We're going to be able to play a lot of AAA games on these, especially the Series S at 1440p at 60 frames per second. And FSR, when its output is 1440p and 4K, you get the best results. Like it's really good. And the Series S obviously targets a 1440p output. It can also do 4K, but I know it targets 1440p. And of course, the Series X at 4K. So now we have this technology with ray tracing AAA games. The sky's the limit. It's a real exciting time to be a console gamer, because console gamers get laughed at a lot. Oh, you're peasants, or your console can't do 60, or your console can't do ray tracing. The Xbox Series X and S are truly prepared for this generation of games, and I can't wait until they start using this software.
Yeah, it looks incredible. So let us know if you played Metro on Series S or X. I've been playing it, got several hours back in on a new playthrough of Metro, and just the frame rate alone is massive. Even if it didn't have ray tracing, it'd be blown away. So it has that as well. It's looking great. Let us know your thoughts on all that stuff. Again, shout out to everyone in the chat, guys. Hit the like button if you haven't. Be sure and share this out. We do appreciate it, guys. Everything you guys do, we do see it. We do notice it. It helps so much. Icy One, by the way, he says they can play these PlayStation console exclusives, quote unquote, on PC, Xbox, and xCloud. They should just stop crying about it. Yeah. He's talking about Bethesda. Shout out to you, brother. Eric83 says, hey, experts, what is Starfield about? I'm guessing you're hunting space turtles. I don't know. I have no idea. You're colonizing. Yeah, he said Skyrim space. That's what he said. I don't know if that's accurate. I don't think you're using swords and stuff. And Alvor from Riverwood's not going to be there, but that's the best explanation they've given. Exploring space.
I'll be hanging out in Whiterun,
Outer Galactica. We'll see. That's kind of the best part of it. It's I don't want it to be quite ruined, right? So we got 6-8 months, or no, a year and something. So whatever. It'll be out 11/11/21. Bonzarelli.
11/11/22.
22. Fuck me. So yeah. Hey, shout out to all you guys. That's the end of the show. We're gonna get off here, go play some games. If you haven't, follow me at dealer_gaming on Twitter. II space dealer. II space dealer space II on Xbox Live. Hit the subscribe button, retweet, support these guys. We're giving out their information right now. Chris Grinnell, it's late as hell over there, and just thanks for coming on the show, man. I know, I'm sure you're half dead.
No, no, it's been
Great
good.
job.
I always enjoy coming on the show. I always enjoy speaking to you guys. Just want to say, I don't know if anyone knows, but there was a stealth Game Pass drop today.
What was it?
Worms Rumble, which is 32-player cross-platform multiplayer Worms. It is optimized for Series X and S, and it is available on Game Pass right now.
Oh, well. Now we know why they stealth dropped it.
Such a dick.
I'm kidding. Yeah, I mean, check it out. I don't know what, man, all I could think about, Chris, is chivalry. We were chopping people's arms off earlier.
Oh, I was just going to say it's worms with swords, but no, yeah. Chivalry 2 is amazing.
Yeah, we were getting in there we were just swinging these great swords, whacking our own teammates in the face. Of course it's an accident, though. But tell people where they can find you, brother, and what you've been playing.
So playing, obviously, the Johnny Depp expansion for Sea of Thieves today. Some Chivalry 2, which is awesome. Played some kind of training modes and stuff, but then we jumped on earlier, and it's an awesome game, so I highly recommend people to grab it. Find me on Twitter, CJ Grinnell. I'm on Midweek Mix-Up with a Wandering Dutch on a Wednesday. Just looking forward to more games. Obviously, we'll finish this Johnny Depp expansion this week, I'm sure, and I'll catch people online. If you want to add me on Xbox, it's Hard Times UK.
Yeah, he used to be a rapper.
I did, yeah. and just before we go, Dodge can't use the jump button. So
No,
when he's
you
on the
can't.
train tomorrow, he'll have that snippet.
OG Reginator, shout out to you, brother, for becoming a new channel member as well. Shout out to all the channel members, patrons, all that stuff, guys. Again, I just want to remind you real quick, video will drop tomorrow, the one that was supposed to come out yesterday, so stay tuned there. But thanks, Chris, seriously, thanks for coming on, man. We've been talking about this for a minute, and it's just good that we can finally have some time lined up. And what better footage than Sea of Thieves Johnny Depp expansion? Let us know your thoughts about that too, chat. D-Batch, tell me where they can find you and what have you been playing.
You can find me on Twitter at D_Batch. Of course, at YouTube at DBatch. I dropped a video today on FSR. I'm about to fire up Ratchet and Clank after this podcast. So I'm going to play it for a couple hours with the kids. I've been playing Battlefield. Yeah, I'm really excited to play this Ratchet and Clank. I can't lie to you guys, man. It looks really phenomenal, and I want it to be like a whole family experience because I think this is like a moment for us, man, because this game, it really approaches like Pixar quality for me, so I'm excited to play it. It was a good show. Thanks for coming on, Chris. We'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, follow D-Batch. Also, shout out to the moderators, Lethal, everyone in the chat, keeping it locked down. You guys are awesome. I got a super chat here I'll get. I'm just letting you know I won't forget you, buddy. And then we've got Fonzarelli at Fonzarelli Gaming. Tell people where they can find you, bud, and what have you been playing?
Well, I'm playing the pack up and get things ready for the vacation coming
Ooh.
up. That's going to be, it's going to be crazy getting away for 2 weeks. But at the same time, it kind of sucks because I don't get to sit here and play with my new toy here, my computer, and make some videos and stuff with it. And
You liking
blows.
that? I didn't get to talk to you about that.
Oh, I love it, man. This Mac Mini is freaking amazing. This M1 chip is phenomenal. It just blows through 4K video like I haven't experienced before. Replaces my aging MacBook Pro. But anyway, you can find me at Fonzarelli Gaming. I will be away for the next 2 weeks, but I will be back. I already have a show guest lined up and everything for July 11th, and have a good guest on that day. So join me for sure for Games Talk Live. That's Sunday. At 4 p.m. Eastern time. Aside from that, I just want to say thanks to Chris for coming on. Chris, always welcome, man. Chris is a great guy, man. He's awesome. Good friend. And the chat, always amazing. The chat's always amazing here. And I was looking at Twitter a little while ago, and I see people mentioning this screen tearing going on with this new patch with this game, Sea of Thieves. So apparently it came with this patch, like you said, Dealer.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I didn't know for sure, but that's the first time I had mentioned it or noticed it.
Yeah. There's people complaining about it. So
they'll fix it. Yeah,
they'll fix it. All right. Yeah. So find me at Fonzarelli Gaming, guys.
Again, follow Fonz, and we've got xCloud Jim Dog. Tell me what you've been playing and where can people find you, man. We've got Zalker.
I've been playing the show. I've been.
God, I forget you got to unmute your mic.
No, I'm here.
No, I said go ahead. I forgot you got to unmute your mic. It takes a second.
Oh no. No, I've been playing the show. I've been playing. I played that man eater garbage that you were telling me you were talking about earlier. And Super Hot. Been playing that a little bit here and there, building up some gamer score. But overall, I've been really into the show. Doing a season. I can't tell you how realistic the game is. Again, that is an awesome game that you can get on. Game Pass, and I'm waiting for Flight Sim. Really can't wait until that comes, and also Psychonauts 2. As far as where you can find me, xCloud TimDog on Twitter. Obviously, I just tweet the same thing over and over. It's called Starfield. So that's basically my Twitter account now. But
how many Twitter followers you got now?
Almost 40,
Jesus
39.
Christ.
But no, also Chris, he's awesome. Thanks for coming. I know it's late for you, but just your insight and being part of the industry as you were really adds to the show. And just thanks for coming down.
Seriously, yeah.
Thanks, Tim.
Shout out to Papa Smurf, by the way. He says he looks forward to next week's show. Everyone be safe and play some games. Love the show. Thank you so much. So, a cute perspective, by the way. We did cover Fidelity FX, sir. Thank you so much. Greg E3A, give a shout out to some of these guys that support us. Crispy Rambo, shout out to you. Floodman, shout out to you. Somebody told you to shut up, sir. I don't know why, but I apologize for them. Rob, shout out to you, Rob Roski. We've also got Tyrone Herring. We've got Hunter in the chat. And we'll get 2 or 3 more here. Of course, our moderators, once more, Obi. There's Chris, he's in there. Shout out to you, Chris Grunell. Sean Pryor, I think I got that. Failed Pyromancer, I'm trying to get him unbanned or unblocked. I don't know. He's a good guy, guys. Just take my word for it. He's just a little emotional sometimes, that's all. And then Eternal.
A little.
He's a whiny bitch.
I'll stop it. Eternal and Lisa, shout out to you. So thank you so much. And then I'll get this super chat after Zalker's outro. What have you been playing, buddy? Where can people find you?
You guys find me on Twitter at Zalker87, YouTube Zalker87. It's pumping out that content. But I've been playing Chivalry 2 with the boys, having a lot of fun with that, just cutting fools' heads off. It was great. And they don't come back like Zuglug. And it's a lot of fun. And then I beat Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. I beat that over the weekend, I think Friday night or something. I put a lot of time into that game, had a lot of fun with it. It was cool.
4.5 hours.
Yeah, it was about 12 hours, 11 to 12 hours. It was a lot of fun, though. But I'm going to be jumping into this Dark Alliance game, Dungeons and Dragons. Hey, man, I know it got really bad reviews, but if you watch people playing it on Twitch, I was like watching it just in case. People are actually having fun with it. They're like, yeah, it's got some bugs, but it's actually pretty damn fun when you play with friends. So that's my kind of game. I'll be jumping into that.
Is it on Game Pass? Game Pass, right?
Game Pass, Xbox and PC, and the cloud, and everything. Like, it's full Game Pass. You can play wherever you want.
I'll join you.
No.
I'll join you, Zucker.
No, because you're going to talk shit the whole time, and you're going to hurt my feelings. I know it's what you're going to do.
I'm only going to talk shit about your gameplay.
That's fine. That's fine.
Hey, shout out to Others Inc. as well. We got to give a shout out to him. He's been he's probably been in the chat more than just about as much as anybody else. So shout out to Others Inc.
He's day one, man.
He is.
Every week.
He is.
He's been here.
Him and Rand are really cool friends, man. It's great.
Oh, shit.
Sorry.
Where was that kind of tomfoolery earlier, sir? We could have brought up their relationship earlier and had a blast, but now it's the end of the show.
Did you just say fucking tomfoolery? Get that end the show, bro.
I don't even know what that means. I think that's just like shenanigans, right?
Tomfoolery, yes, shenanigans, all that stuff.
Well, I'm not allowed to say tomfoolery. Anyway,
it came out of nowhere. Caught me off guardery.
That's malarkey. Hey, Virgin SSD. Gosh, seriously, come on, guy. I just noticed your name, man. He says in the super chat, he says, "What's a good RDX crew?" He says, "Quick question: Is Redfall full next gen only?"
It's only Xbox Series X and S only, I think.
Yeah,
I think
it could be very, very, very likely. It's probably they say summer next year for that damn game, but it's like, are you sure? It has been in development for a while though.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
So he says he looked at the website and that's what it's saying as well. But you never know. You're right. So just don't plan on it. And, it doesn't really matter either way. The game's going to look and probably play pretty phenomenally. Prey on PC, that game's old as fuck. On PC, it still looks amazing. Like, it's just a lot of stuff they have to turn off, right? Historically. So now they can ramp stuff up. So, again, I'm seriously curious to see how many of you played the Metro patch. Let me know. Fonz, you really should try it out, man. I know you have that game. I think you do.
Yeah, I do.
Try that out. It's really, really neat. But again, chat, thank you so much for what you do. We're going to jump out of here, and we'll see you on the next week's episode with a guest, I guess, in Fonz's stead. And also be sure and check out my video tomorrow. And thanks. We will talk to you then.
Later, everybody.
Okay.
It's a wrap.
Oh my God.
It's a wrap.